Hello and welcome to Safety Update with Sam Watts. I, of course, am Sam Watts. And I know last week we had it titled Sam Safety Update or something like that, but we decided to change it up because this one sounded better, we thought, and we can do that. We're in America, free country. So now Safety Update with Sam Watts. I got a lot of feedback from the last one we did. Thank you to those who responded and gave me some feedback and some advice and tips and things you want to talk about, and we'll get to all those topics here in upcoming videos. But if you do have a question or helpful advice, or you think something should be changed or whatever, feel free to let me know. If it's a good idea, we'll use it. If it's not a good idea, I'll tell you it's not a good idea, and then we won't touch it. So anyways, but feel free to always reach out to me. That's what I'm here for. So moving on, Driver Appreciation Week was 2 weeks ago, 2 Fridays ago. And I hope that you were able to participate in some of the events we had. I hope you got a goodie bag with t-shirt and hats and all that kind of good stuff. Hopefully you were able to come over and eat some of the food that we had on Friday, either breakfast, lunch, or dinner. We had it all, and it was all delicious, and hopefully you were able to do that. If not, and you were looking for leftovers, I'm not exactly sure where they ended up at, but I don't think they were left at 11th Street. I'm just saying, you might have to ask around. It's probably no good to eat them anymore anyways, but it was delicious. But I hopefully got out there and were able to participate. And I know it's on the trucking calendar, and so we do Driver Appreciation Week and Day and all that. But I really hope that you on the road feel appreciated every day. I hope that by what we do in the office makes you feel appreciated. I hope that you know that you are appreciated, because you truly are. You guys are the ones that make this company move forward. And I do intend the pun on that one. You guys literally drive this company forward. And we really do appreciate everything that you do on the road for this company, all the sacrifices that you make, the missed home time that you have, all that kind of stuff that you're on the road, the holidays you're out there. We truly do appreciate it. And we hope that you feel that as well. So hopefully you made it out and enjoyed the Driver Appreciation Week. And we'll obviously, we always have some stuff going on around here, so we'll do it again if you missed that one last time. Okay, so a lot of questions I have gotten have been on the split sleeper berth. How do we do it? How does it show? How do we get our hours back from there? So I want to just take a couple minutes here and go through a log and show you how the split sleeper berth works, how you can kind of calculate the hours to get back, how you need to log it correctly. There's a couple little nuances to it. And like I said, this is one of the big questions I get asked. And it really is, even in preparing this and reading through the instructions on how the FMCSA lays out split sleeper berth, it still is a little confusing. So I just want to take a couple minutes here. I got a sample paper log that we can look at, and I'll show you just how exactly a split sleeper berth works, how it looks, and the hours you get out of it as well. Okay, so split sleeper berths. Let's first go over basically the hours of service here real quick. This should be just review, but I just want to make sure. So obviously you have 14 hours to work in a given day. 11 of those 14 hours you can drive. Okay, that should not be news to any of you. And then you got to do a 10-hour break. So how do we do a split sleeper berth though? How do we split those hours up and be able to really utilize our clock very well? So here we have a paper log. Obviously you guys are running e-logs, but for the sake of this demonstration, we have a paper log. Here's a paper log. Let's now take a look. The driver starts his day at 2 a.m. right there. Starts the day at 2 a.m. This driver drives for 6 hours before getting to a receiver. That receiver then takes their sweet time and holds up the driver for 3 hours. As you can see right here, off duty for 3 hours. Normally, that 3 hours would just be a waste. But if you split your sleeper berth, you can use those off-duty hours to your advantage. So the driver is done at the receiver after 3 hours there. And now, remember, you can do an 8-2 split. So if the shipper receiver is done in 1 hour 45, just hang out for another 15 minutes if you want to get your 2 hours in. But for our example here, the driver is stopped for 3 hours. Now, you might ask, why 3? Why is it 8 and 2 or 7 and 3 or whatever? Well, it's pretty simple. So in order to do this, there has to be obviously 2 parts to it. There has to be a long part and a short part of a break. The short part has to be at least 2 hours long in the break in order for this to count. So that's why that's why they say a 2 hour and 8 hour split or a 7 hour and 3 hour split, because it's got to be at least that. One of the rest periods has to be at least 7 hours in the sleeper berth. So that only leaves you 8 and 2 or 7 and 3. You can't do a 9 and 1 because you need at least 2 hours. You can't do a 6 and 4 because the other one has to be at least 7 hours. So a 7 and 3 and 8 and 2 split are the only types of splits that you can use. And now the 7 and the long part, the 7 hours and the 8 hours has to be in the sleeper berth. Okay, the short break can be off-duty, sleeper berth, or a combination of the two, but the long break has to be in the sleeper berth. So for our example here on the e-log or on the paper log, the driver is at his stop for 3 hours. So we can see up at the off-duty, he's got 3 hours off there. This is perfect to split. So the driver drives for another 5 hours to complete their 11 hours of driving. Okay, so they've done 11 hours of driving in this day. Now they shut it down for 7 hours because we already have that 3 hour break back there. And so now, according to the FMCSA 395.1, G or whatever that is, it says in article number 3 there, now we have to recalculate everything. We have to recalculate the hours. It says that the driving time and the 14-hour duty period limit must be recalculated at the end of the day. Now, here's the fun thing. If you're in Motive already, this will auto-calculate the hours for you. But if you want to figure it out yourself, recalculate them yourself, there's kind of an easy way to do that. So, like I said, the rules say that the driving time limit and the 14-hour duty period must be recalculated at the end of the first of the 2 periods. So we must recalculate from back here at the end of the first of the 2 periods. So if we go and we look at that 7 hour sleeper berth right there, it ends at 11 p.m. So the driver is available to drive at 11 p.m. At 11 p.m., the driver has full hours, but they have to recalculate. Now, in order to figure that out, in order to figure out how to recalculate, we have to look at the end of the first break at 11 a.m. So we go back to 11 a.m. there. After the 3 hour break, the driver drove 5 hours. Okay, we see that there. Those 5 hours then have to be deducted from his fresh set of hours. So at 11 p.m., he gets a fresh set of hours, but we have to deduct these 5 hours of drive time. So at 11 p.m., this driver can drive 11 hours minus the 5 hours already driven. So at 11 p.m., this driver would be able to drive until 5 a.m. So hopefully that makes sense, because if we eliminate these 5 hours, we have only another 6 hours to drive on a 7 and 3 split. This is a 7 and 3 split. Now, there are multiple scenarios out there. This is just one example of what you could do, but hopefully this kind of answers a couple questions on how to do a split sleeper berth. So this week's film session, we've got a dash cam video showing an actual accident that we got in. Luckily, no one was badly hurt. Our driver was able to drive away and actually continue on with his delivery. The person in the other car actually ended up going by ambulance to a hospital where they were checked out and released. But it's a pretty, I don't know what the word is, shocking video. As you'll see, it shows the collision, or you actually feel the collision in it. But yeah, so this is just something this happened out on the road with one of our guys. And I'm going to fast forward a little bit here because I didn't edit it up. So here we have the video. He's coming to a red light. He's going to take a left at this intersection here. So far, everything's going good. So now we've got, as you can see, we have, if I could pause it there we go. He's got the green arrow. He's got the green arrow to turn left. So he's got the right of way in this thing. Now, we continue on playing it. The other car hits him. So, and you can even see in the right-hand mirror there, the car sitting back there, and you can see the collision from the car. So, what can we learn about this situation? Well, our driver, as clearly shows on here, was in the right of way. There's absolutely no doubt, I guess, against that. I wouldn't think there's any doubt in that, but he's clearly in the right of way. However, one thing that I would just advise is if you're doing this, and I understand, you have mirrors around, you have other things, you're looking around, you know, you're turning left, you got to make sure the trailer clears, you got to make sure the other traffic is doing what it is. But I understand there's a lot of stuff to do. But here's one thing that I would just point out that maybe you can watch, is that at this moment, you probably are going to realize that that car is not slowing down. That car is coming through, and quite honestly, I don't know what you can do about that other than maybe try to clear or try to steer right and get that truck pointed back so that you can maybe avoid it. But at this point, you've got to realize as a driver that that car is not going to be making a stop and is probably going to hit you. So one thing just to be very aware of is if you are turning left like this, is just to be aware of the oncoming traffic coming in. Again, I don't blame the driver in this situation. I don't think there was really anything else he could have done past the point of basically no return. But you gotta, one thing just to be aware of is you gotta be able to see that that car is probably not gonna be stopping. And is there anything that you could do in this situation that could avoid a collision like this? We are very thankful that the driver actually kind of slowed down a little bit because the car hit the drive axles in the back, and if that truck would have been, you know, another 10 feet, that car would have gone underneath the trailer. That could have been a lot worse of a collision because the car behind them actually was a witness to this and said that that person did not hit their brakes at all. That car did not realize that they were blowing a red light and they were just going to go right through. So that's the only thing that I could kind of advise, is just make sure that you're aware of the other traffic, as I'm sure this driver was, because, you know, he's got a Jeep to the side of him. I'm sure he was aware of everything that was kind of coming around him. Sometimes we just assume that cars see us. We got big black trucks and big black trailers, and I think sometimes we assume cars just see us. But as the case is here, they did not. So we just got to be kind of aware of our surroundings, and if you see something like this, you know, maybe right here, you see that the car's not stopping, maybe you could try to take a right, straighten out the truck and trailer and avoid it. I don't know if that'd be possible, but that'd be my only advice, is just be aware of the oncoming traffic too, because yes, we're in the right, yes, we didn't get cited for anything, but at the same time, we still had a collision that happened to one of our trucks, and we're trying to eliminate that. So that is the film session for today. If you have any questions about that or have any suggestions for it, please feel free to contact me. I'm all ears. So, oops, get there. And then, of course, at the end, always drive safe. That's all I ask of you guys, is just drive safe out there. You guys are professional truck drivers. You know how to do this. You do it well. And again, we appreciate you for being able to do that well. We put on a ton of miles on this fleet, and the amount of accidents and incidences we have is very minimal. And we like to keep it that way. And we thank you guys for being safe out there. And I just like to remind you all the time, drive safe, okay? Drive safe.